The Dallas Cowboys are nowhere near coming anywhere close to finalizing their final roster, given that we're sitting in early July having not even come close to starting training camp. Yet, 53-man roster projections are already in full swing, as the NFL remains in slow season ahead of the commencement of training camp in late July. The Athletic's John Machota, who covers the Cowboys for the publication, made an eye-raising prediction back in late June when he stated he believes that the team will take an almost unheard-of total of 5 running backs on their initial roster directly out of training camp come the end of August. Machota counts recent free agent acquisitions, Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders, alongside rookies Jaden Blue and Phil Maffa and former undrafted free agent Hunter Luepke, amongst the projected rostermen for the unit. He also projects that running back/wide receiver tweener Cavani Turpin makes the roster as part of the receiving core, despite his multifaceted ability in both the running and passing game. Dallas predicted to go quantity over quality at running back. Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders are veterans, so it makes sense why they took all of the first-team reps during organized team activities and minicamp. Machota stated as part of his reasoning, Dallas used a 5th-round pick on Jaden Blue. Those 3 seem pretty locked in. Fullback Hunter Luepke is also a good bet because of what he brings as a runner, blocker, and potential pass catcher as an extra tight end. That leaves Phil Maffa and Deuce Vaughn competing for the final running back spot. The edge goes to the recent 7th-round pick. Wide receiver Cavani Turpin could also see more backfield work this season. No running backs on the roster have managed much success over the past couple of years in the league, with 2 of them having exactly 0 professional experience. Holding on to a 7th-round pick in Phil Maffa is a slightly unusual decision, particularly at running back, in lieu of sending them to the practice squad for their first season. But with the team's dearth of proven recent ability at the position, it would not be shocking to see Maffa make some inroads into the offensive playing time at the position at some point during the regular season. The Cowboys have unusual hybrid RB players. The exact number of running backs is not quite as simple as the 5 listed on the original projection. Although Luepke does primarily play at fullback, he is not strictly a blocker. Last season, he carried the ball 12 times, only 5 times less than third-choice RB, Deuce Vaughn. And at college, he was given significant duties as both a tailback and fullback, which included carrying the ball more than 80 times in each of his final 3 seasons at North Dakota State. He is also listed as a running back on ESPN's official website. Meanwhile, Turpin has balanced receiving, rushing, and returning duties over his 3 seasons with Dallas, but 2024 was the first year that his number of receptions overtook his carries. Both Turpin and Luepke could be considered running backs in their own right, and one is indeed listed by Machota as such, so the number is really between 4 and 6, however the team feels on the day. Irregardless, it is still a substantial amount of space to dedicate to a position that is unlikely to be a position of strength for the hopeful NFC East contenders. The Dallas Cowboys have paid quarterback Dak Prescott so much money and given him such power in his contract, with a no-trade clause, that when it comes to where he stands with his team, he might be the most powerful player in the NFL outside of Kansas City Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes. In no uncertain terms, Prescott makes the most money in the most powerful sports league on the most valuable team at the most visible position in all of professional sports. What none of that influence and money can do for Prescott is win football games, and over the course of his decade-long career, there hasn't been nearly enough winning to go around. It's one of the more well-known facts in the NFL that the Cowboys haven't been to the NFC Championship game, never mind the Super Bowl, since the 1995 season. After NFC East rivals the Washington Commanders and Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles squared off in the NFC Championship game following the 2024 season, there's added pressure on the Cowboys and Prescott headed into 2025. Prescott fell flat after consecutive 12-5 seasons. Prescott had his best year as a pro in 2022 when he made NFL All-Pro for the first time as the Cowboys went 12-5. They followed that with another 12-5 season in 2023, then went fully in the tank and with a 7-10 record in 2024. That record came, in large part, because Prescott watched from the sidelines for the final 9 games of a season with a hamstring injury. That had happened right after he signed a 4-year, $240 million contract at the beginning of the season have put Prescott even more under the microscope. Pro Football Talks' Mike Florio put Prescott firmly on the hot seat headed into 2025. His $60 million per year contract would wreak havoc on the salary cap if the Cowboys were to cut or trade him. Yes, he has a no-trade clause, but he can waive it in 2026, Florio wrote on July 5th. The complication for the Cowboys is that his $45 million salary for 2027 becomes fully guaranteed on the fifth day of the 2026 league year. They're basically stuck, all because they waited too long to give him his second contract and then waited too long to give him his third contract. Prescott's contract called worst in NFL. Bleacher Report's Christopher Knox put Prescott at number 2 on his list of the 10 worst contracts in the NFL. That's only behind Cleveland Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson and his fully guaranteed 5-year, $230 million contract extension he signed in March 2023, perhaps the worst contract in the history of professional sports. Dallas made Prescott the highest-paid player in NFL history by a fairly considerable margin, Knox wrote on June 12th. With a deal worth $60 million annually, Prescott makes at least $5 million more per year than any other player, including quarterbacks like Jordan Love, Joe Burrow, and Josh Allen. Prescott is an above-average quarterback, but he has never been elite. There is no scenario, at this stage in his career, that he's worth $5 million per year more than any other player. There are outsiders, nationals, and casuals who think the Dallas Cowboys have more major decisions to make this offseason on what they want to do with star pass rusher Micah Parsons. They are wrong. The major decisions have been made. Parsons is entering the final year of his contract, and team owner Jerry Jones and Parsons have agreed to some long-term parameters. For instance, CowboysCountry.com was first to report that Parsons likes the idea of a 5-year Cowboy for life deal. And of course, that would come at the new going rate of about $40 million APY, quite possibly making him the highest-paid non-QB in NFL history, with the whole bag coming in at $200 million. At this moment, the Cowboys seem infinitely closer to doing their Micah deal than the Cincinnati Bengals do with Trey Hendrickson, also a gifted edge rusher who has recorded an astounding 17.5 sacks in each of the last 2 seasons. Micah is playing music on TikTok and promising soon. Hendrickson is pledging to hold out of camp and the entire season, while suggesting the Bengals front office lied to him about its plan. What do Micah and Trey have to do with one another? Very little. And yet, one national and casual website writes, if Dallas is willing to let Parsons walk, then they need to find a backup plan for him and should try to figure that out this season.
Wait, what?
Let him walk. Another, Last Word on Sports, has Dallas pulling the plug on Micah, saying, it would be interesting to see if Dallas could one day get Hendrickson to boost them to a well-rounded defensive line.
Wait, what?
Like, a trade involving the two? Dallas doesn't want the older Hendrickson. Cincy doesn't want the more expensive Micah. There's nothing here except this. Hendrickson is surely watching to see what Micah gets. And vice versa. Oh, and unhappy Steelers stud TJ Watt is doing the same. Those are the ties between the Cowboys star and the other two. They might be exchanging negotiating notes, but they're not going to be exchanging home cities.